Hey, real quick, this video is censored for YouTube. So if you want to see the uncensored version, you gotta go to here. This place. There's gonna be maybe a link down in the description. I don't know, find out. Hey, I'm gonna talk about this horny Slay the Spire clone, Tamer Vale. At its core, it plays very much like Slay the Spire, but with a couple key differences. I'll explain these differences by showing you kinda how a typical run of this game goes. So at the start, you pick from 3 different characters, 2 of which you have to unlock by playing through the game, each of which has a different set of cards with their own mechanics. Then you have to pick which routes to take through each area, sometimes being able to upgrade your cards, get new cards, raise your max health, or upgrade your special ability. Whoa. Some of these activities include a funny little animation, like this one here. Or this one. Even this one. Look at that one right there. Ooh. At the end of an area, there's a boss fight, and if you beat him, you go to the next area. Do that 3 times, and you complete a run. Every time you complete a run, or die, you'll get experience points, which unlock more cards and special abilities. So that's basically how the game plays. Now, before I get to my issues with it, I'm going to go over some of the other aspects of the game. Like, you know, the hentai bits, which 95% of it is basically monster and I don't know, it's just not my thing. It's not really my thing. But if you like tentacles and werewolves, stuff like that, you know, maybe that's your thing. I'm not gonna judge. You know, I'm into some weird stuff too. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, look at me. Just fucking look at me. And like the last game I played, it's all pixel art, so that also doesn't really help in the horniness factor for me personally. Of course, that's not to say I don't like any erotic pixel art, but this just ain't it for me. I'm sorry. It's just the style. I don't know. It's just not that good for me for jacking off. It's not bad. Like the quality is, you know, it's good. But I can't get off to it. Well, then what about the story then? The story then has to be like decent, right? Well, why don't I show you the story? Moving on, how about the music and sound design? Well, the music is very bland. It does its job, but me personally, I turned it off. It just sounds like, you know, free sound library vibes. Like they just took it from like a free library. Kind of a similar story for the sound design of the gameplay and the horny bits. Except for some of the voice work. Like the voice work isn't bad for the most part. There's some scenes where it just sounds overacted. Like they're intentionally making it sound like porn voice acting. You know, the hiya. Like that. Or it just sounds straight up kind of goofy. But then there's a couple scenes with characters just talking and it's just fine. This is fine, I don't know.
Oh, it's nice to see your friendly face.
So back to the art and animation. Like I said before, it's the style of pixel art I find hard to get off to, but I don't think it's bad. Except for the animations, or really the lack thereof. I understand it might be a style choice, or like a budget limitation, so I won't dog on it too much. But again, it's hard to get off on a scene that's like 3 to 4 frames on a loop. There's gotta be a little more going on for me. Again, it's basically all monster, so if you aren't into that, there's not really anything here for you. Sorry. You're shit out of luck. Alright, now that I've said all of that, I'm going to rant about my problems with the gameplay. So like I've said, this game is mimicking Slay the Spire hard. There's no doubt about it, right? However, it's just missing those extra details, those extra elements that made Slay the Spire so fun and interesting, especially on repeat playthroughs. For instance, there's no random encounters or events, there's no relics, and you know, all the other things that make each run different. This lack of variety makes each run of Tamer Vale feel very repetitive once you figure out the optimal way to play your character's deck. I'd maybe be more forgiving of this if each run was short, maybe like 10 to 15 minutes tops, but they can take a long time, but like on the regular difficulty. The enemies are too tanky. Like there's fights where the win is basically guaranteed, but it still takes several turns to win. I did one entire run that took almost 2 hours alone, so it can very quickly start to feel like a grind. And not the good kind. Adding on to that, once you beat the last boss with a particular character, you've seen basically every scene there is with that character. And yet they want you to keep playing that character to either unlock more cards or even the other characters. And if you're just here to see scenes, that's going to be annoying to deal with. And again, you're going to be grinding for hours to unlock them all. And in my opinion, they're not worth it. By the time I unlocked one scene with this character, which you have to meet 10 times by the way, as in you have to see them and visit their little thing on the map 10 times, I had played nearly 10 hours according to Steam. 10 hours! Well, gee, you're doing a lot of complaining. What the hell do you like about the game then? A couple things, actually. Like, they have a good base here for a game. Like, yeah, it's basically Slay the Spire, but like, Slay the Spire is good, so... Again, if they just added some more variety to the gameplay to really make each run feel different, that alone would make a huge difference. Because I kind of like how each character feels, and they all play completely, well, almost completely differently from one another. Like this one, the first character you can play as feels pretty similar to the Ironclad from Slay the Spire, but this one, Ilaria, is pretty unique, I think. You get these cards that can summon creatures that attack for you each turn as long as they have this spirit resource right here. Though this character is pretty busted because you can just get these cards that can lower the enemy's attack damage to 0, and you can get these cards which heal you, so sometimes you can just negate all damage ever. I think with this game they should have either put more effort into the gameplay or put more effort into the hentai, because to me it feels like they missed the mark on both fronts. Enough ranting. So do I recommend picking up this game? Maybe? Maybe? Here's my criteria. If you're into pixel style hentai and or monster and you like to support the developer so they can make more games, maybe pick it up on a sale or something? Because to me, this game kind of feels like it's in early access, but it's not. As of writing, the latest version 1.7 came out in November of 2023. At least I can give them props for continuing to update and add content to the game, which I feel is rare with these types of games. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if there's a game you'd like for me to review next. I have some games in mind already, some games I'm going to be working on, but again, anything you'd like me to review, leave it down in the comments. Now go on, scram. Get out of here. Get out of here.